Hello and welcome to Starace on the Commodore 64, and you can see this was developed by Denton Designs and was released. This is where it becomes a little more intriguing, because this game never had a commercial release. I first encountered this game when I bought the September 1990 issue of Zap magazine, and this was on the cover mount cassette and billed as being a previously unreleased game. And I didn't actually know the whole story behind it until recently when I was perusing the Games That Weren't website, and I'll put a link to the website in the description. But it's worth a read. But it turns out Denton developed this game and approached Ocean as usual, but this time Ocean said no, we're not interested, we don't think it's something we can really sell. Now bear in mind, this is the company that brought you such classics as Cobra, utter turds, and under their Imagine sub-label they released, Freddy Hardest and all those shitty dynamic games conversions that were all shit, like army moves and game over, just zero gameplay. And they thought that a game by Denton Designs, a sci-fi themed 3D race game by Denton Designs, was not a viable game to try and market. What? So anyway, let's look at more of the game. So it's well presented. It's got a little control panel. In the background's a fantastic piece of music by Fred Gray. As usual, he always did the Denton Design games. This amazing, futuristic sounding piece of music sounds great. Well, it's a bit short, but I'll turn it down a bit just so I can talk over it. But well worth a listen if you've never listened to it. And there's 14 tracks, I believe. Yeah, 14 tracks, 0 to 13. And each one's got its own description and its own difficulty level. This determines the difficulty of the opponents. We've got control type, demonstration mode that just flies itself. That's what. Manual gives you full control over the craft. Computer alignment, if you stray off the track, it will take over and put you back in the track. Assisted, well, according to the instructions, it's supposed to help steer the craft and point it towards the centre of the tunnel, but I never found it to be much different from computer alignment. And so forth. Now when you go up and down the track, each one's got its own default, and you have to play it on this default in order to score a time. So even though you race for position in the race, it's actually the time taken that counts, and that's the one that goes towards the high score. There's a high score. And that's the game structure. There's no league or championship options, which I think is... yeah, I think that's a bit of disappointment, to be honest. It's just purely racing for time, and it does tend to become a bit repetitive. But anyway, enough of that. Let's get started with the game. So you can have music on or off. We'll have it off to start with, and we'll go to track 1, which is gentle track for beginners. That sounds good to me. And you can click track, and there's a sort of 3D rendering of the track. This one, you can see there's no gradient, it's fairly flat, just some slight curves. Let's get started. So it's all rendered in wireframe vector graphics, and usually this is not the C64 strength, but actually I think they move fast enough. I mean, let's get started. It's not too jerky. So the idea is that these are all the enemy craft you've got to avoid, and you've got to stay within this tunnel. So once you venture outside the energy fields, it starts to slow you down, and you can't accelerate, so you've got to just try and keep in the tunnel. You've got to avoid those purple spheres. They will instantly smash your craft up. and you have to start from 0 speed. And that's the gist of the game. It is a bit simple, I'll give it that, but it's still a decent race game. I mean, this is before Powerdrome came out on the Amiga. Well, I say that, I mean, this game was released on ZAP in September 1990, but it was due for release in 1987. So it would have, yes, I've hit the craft and you spin out of control, lose time. So I think it was maybe just a little too far ahead of its time. I think it's playable enough. The speed is fine. The controls are not too laggy. I mean, they feel a little laggy, but I think you can put that down to just the feel of the craft. This track's pretty easy because you don't have to move up and down. You just have to go left and right. So, looking at the top of the screen, there's a graph at the top left. That's a graph showing your position history. So now it's at the top, it means I'm at the first place. Right of that is a number, it says 36, 35. That's distance to the end of the race. Next to that is the position that you're in, first position. To the right of that is the track records. Down the bottom is your speed. And bottom middle is a little sort of radar graph showing your position in the tunnel, and to the right of that is how long you've taken in the race. All pretty straightforward, quite well done, quite stylish but easy to read. So we finished first with a time of 5:26, and it takes us back, and you can put your name in this rather annoying high score table. It's a bit similar to the one that eventually we saw in Arkanoid's Revenge of Doe, isn't it? Or what I'm thinking of, I think Hysteria's got a similar one. And Mikey, of course, I think has got a similar. All very annoying. I mean, I don't think this is a bad game at all. Certainly, I can't believe, I'm just shocked that Ocean would have said, no, this is not good enough for us, or no, we don't think we can market it. But, I say it's a... turn that music off a bit. It's a futuristic race game by Denton Designs. I mean, even in 1987, I think their name still carried quite a bit of weight. Well, that looks like a complicated track, no doubt about that. Expert, okay. Sail on the Wind of 1,000 Suns, let's have a look at this one now. Okay, there's a bit of gradient in this one. I'll turn the music on this time, so the in-game music is pretty good as well. But I don't think it's as good as the title music. Now on the High Voltage SID collection, there's under Fred Gray, there's a track called Sled, which I think is a sort of earlier version of this tune. This tune, I mean, this version feels a bit more fleshed out, I think. That's why I think Sled came first. It's a nice tune. I mean, it's not very pacey, but I think it captures the sort of sailing adventure sort of feel or atmosphere of the game. Because the idea of the game is that you sail between suns. This tunnel was designed to travel between different solar systems, but races have taken it over. I think that's the idea of the game. So it's got a kind of... the tune's got a kind of adventure, sort of expedition, sort of feel to it, I think. It does really suit the game. You see, it comes a bit harder once you've got a bit of gradient in the track. think the gameplay's fine. It is a bit repetitive once you played a few tracks. I just think it would have benefited from a league or a cup or some sort of more expansive game options, because the graphics are the same for every track, it's same colours. There's no variation there, but and the gameplay only varies in the difficulty level, really. But yeah, when I had this with the Zap cover tape, you know, back in the day, I did play this quite a lot. I really enjoyed it. I think it's a decent game. I mean, I don't think it's an amazing game. I think it just lacks some variation in the gameplay. I think it plays well enough. Clearly, it's fairly ahead of its time. I think the graphics are just as fast as, or faster than those in the Star Wars games. They may not be quite Stunt Car Racer speed, but it's not too far off. I think for a racing game it's just fast enough. Overtaking the other racers can be quite tricky sometimes if they're near the edge of the tunnel. I find the best solution is to fly at the edge of the tunnel and just try and glide your way past them, even if you have to go outside the tunnel. You've got enough momentum to just glide your way by them. Yep, so that's Starace for you. I'll give it 7 out of 10. I think it's a decent game. I just think it's a shame it never got a commercial release. It's obviously Ocean turned it down, but and according to the Games That Were article, they did approach other companies, but none of them took it. So I don't know whether they were just asking for too much money for it. I don't know. But even if it had received a budget re-release or something, you know, I think people would have thought it was fine. But I think it just sold it for to cover the costs to Newsfield, and it appeared on the cover tape. But it's worth a look, even just to listen to the Fred Gray music if you don't want to listen to Sid play. But I think that title music's great. It's one of his best tunes, I think. So we're currently 5th. Don't think we're going to... I've been waffling too much, I don't think I'm going to make it any higher than 5th. I've got some good speed now. Okay, finish 4th. That's it, that doesn't count, it's just the time that counts. Well, at least it remembers what name you put in before, which makes it a little easier. But it's just slightly annoying. Stylish as it is, it's a bit annoying. But yeah, I still have to find the enter symbol. Right, so 7 out of 10 for Starace, and see you in the next video.